All right, well, welcome back. One more clip here. You've been staring at a screen for who knows how long, trying to think of all the reasons why you love cells so much. Well, let me just give you a few more to finish things up. What we're going to look at next is ways cells are connected to one another. So, one thing about plant cells is that they have cell walls, right? They have cell walls made of that cellulose, the interwoven polysaccharides that make the walls pretty tough. But what helps bind them together is another polysaccharide called pectin. So if we look at the illustration that you have here, you have the cell walls of the plant, and then between the cell walls is this sticky polysaccharide pectin. Pectin is actually the material that is used to make jams and jellies, that gooey stuff. So the gooey stuff that you can use to make jams and jellies, it actually comes in a powdered form, but you hydrate it. Is what holds cell walls together. So again, one type of sugar creates the cell walls, provide strength and structure, and then another type of sugar serves as sort of like a biological glue to help hold the cell walls to one another. Now, for us, for animals, we have what's referred to as an extracellular matrix. It's this combination of proteins and carbohydrates that act as like a hook, a series of hooks and mesh that help hold our cells together. So we have, if you look at this image, we have these collagen proteins, which again, it's a woven series of polypeptides. It's a quaternary structure with multiple, like three woven polypeptides. So you have this really tough protein, and then it's sort of trapped and enmeshed in these sort of fibrous, spidery sugars. So what that does is it helps hold cells to one another. And again, what's really cool is you can transfer mechanical force or tension through the extracellular matrix into this. It's an integrin protein. It's integrated into the cell membrane. And then that connects to the cytoskeleton inside the cell. And you can actually relay mechanical messages from outside the cell all the way into the nucleus and get the cell to respond. You can get certain genes switched on and the cells will respond. Now, the last thing we're going to look at is these connections between cells. The first one is the plasmodesmata. This is the one I've seen most often on the AP exam. It's the connections between plants or plant cells. Plant cells have cell walls, but there are actually holes in the walls that allow for cytoplasmic streaming. It allows for continuous cytoplasmic connection between adjacent cells. And that's important because plants don't have a circulatory system with a pump the way we do. So by having these cytoplasmic connections, it allows for more rapid transport of materials between plant cells. Okay. Let's see, desmosomes. Desmosomes are these sheets of protein that connect neighboring cells. So again, by helping hold these neighboring cells together, it can help fight against like shearing forces. So your skin is referred to as a stratified squamous or squamous epithelial tissue, and what that does, or what the desmosomes do, is help hold that tissue together. Tight junctions are really cool because they are these proteins that stitch together cells and can really tightly control what could potentially pass through them. So here, if you can imagine like lining of the intestines, you don't want just anything traveling in between cells. You want to have tight control over here. So this is sort of like a top-down view of these tight junctions, these proteins. You can see the sort of hole in there. And so this will have certain properties. It could be polar, nonpolar, and only allow certain substances through here. So like here, if you have like hydrocarbon structures, something non-polar will allow that stuff to pass through. So it's a cool way to sort of control movement of materials through cells. And then gap junctions are sort of like, maybe you could think of them as like plasmodesmata for animal cells. These are protein tubes that will connect neighboring cells. And so again, it can allow for rapid diffusion of materials between neighboring cells. Our cardiac cells, the cells in our hearts, have intercalated discs. They're sort of like these connections between neighboring cells, and allows for rapid diffusion of ions so that when an electrical signal is traveling through your heart, it travels very quickly. So you get the heart tissue contracting like at the appropriate time. All right, well, hey, there it is. You made it to the end of the road, and now we can finish with summarizing. Because if we remember Marzano's top 9 instructional strategies, number 2, summarizing and note taking. So you've taken some good notes. Now put together the big ideas. So then when you go to study down the line, you look at your summary first, say, hey, here's what it's all about, and then you fill in with details from the notes. So very good. Thank you for your work. I appreciate your efforts, and I'll talk to you on the other side.